Hey everyone and welcome. This is the month 8 video update for the site I have codenamed called Fight Site because Ninja Safari Chris and I had originally started these sites last year as part of a battle that is now not really happening, but I'm still working on the site. Now this is a site that the strategy is a little bit different than some of my other sites. This is not an all out or get out, bust the budget kind of site. This is a site that's in a competitive niche, and I'm also just building it more slowly. It's something that I want to have in my portfolio because I'd like to test my skills, and also I think that eventually this will be a valuable piece of my portfolio. But I'll just ruin the punchline here and tell you that this site, the stats are not like shocking. But what I think it is good for is just a reminder and proof that when you build a site slowly, and for folks that don't necessarily have a big budget or they have real concerns about maybe the niche that they have chosen, is it too competitive or can I find keywords? I mean, this site is in the legal niche. I mean, there are not many more niches that are as competitive as this. I mean, there's definitely some that are more, but still, this is a very crowded space. And I think it just goes to show that with work and commitment that a site, you can build a site that will, I'm going to say eventually, but will get traffic. And I'm just sticking to that because I really think that if I continue to work on this site, that maybe not by 12 months, maybe not by 24 months, but eventually this site will be a good moneymaker in my portfolio. So let's go just straight to the stats. What you're seeing right now up on the screen is my Excel spreadsheet, right? This site was born in July of 2021. What are some other technological stack considerations that are interesting? This is running the popcorn theme. The hosting is SiteGround. I put Ezoic on the site, I think in month 2, and you can see that it has been earning, starting with a little bit and then more and more over time since August when I put Ezoic on the site. You can see that as far as growth, that the site has pretty much grown month on month with the exception of August. There was a blip in August, and I'm pretty confident that that was bot traffic. I'm not calling it any sort of win, or I mean, maybe a post got sucked into some sort of it's so little traffic in the end that I didn't even bother to investigate it. I'm treating the first initial months as just zeros because the site is too new. This is a fresh domain, not an aged domain. And you can just see that starting around month 5, traffic has started to finally grow. So the first couple months, I was putting 15 articles up every month. And originally, when I started this project, I was only going to do 15 articles a month for 15 months. And I stuck to that until January. And then for reasons that I'll speak about in a little bit, I kind of fell off because now that Chris and I have accepted that this, I'm putting on my air quotes, battle is over and is no longer, I guess, controlling, I have decided to change my strategy for the site, primarily to avoid just putting on the shelf, which was, I pretty much decided pretty confidently that I was just going to put pause on this website, this project, because I plan to go and focus more of my attention on the Mega site, which is in a state of strong, steady growth, and also to focus on what I could learn from working on my Otis age domain that I started in January of 2022. But anyway, back to the stats. Really not surprising to see in months 6, 7, and 8 to see those initial posts that were pretty quiet and didn't do anything in the beginning to finally start to do something. You'll remember that I previously complained a lot about this site as it relates to indexing, and one of the things I did do in the past couple of months is utilize the Rank Math indexing tool. I feel like my results from the tool were kind of meh. I do think that it did help me get some of the articles indexed, but there is still a large portion of the content that is not indexed. And I'm not sure that it is ever going to be indexed. Another thing that I am discovering is that just because a niche seems to be valuable doesn't mean that you can write content in it and expect it to be also valuable. So far, the average EPMV with Ezoic has been pretty disappointing. In February, the average was about just over $5.50 per 1,000 sessions. per 1,000 visitors, I should say. So I will admit to some disappointment about that. Now, there are many reasons that the EPMV could be low. One of them could be my ad placement, and one of them could be potentially the topics or the characteristics of the individuals who are pursuing the information in the articles that I've created. However, I'm not going to use this fact, this result as a reason to stop producing content. Right now, I see the site in a state of cautious growth. So instead of really focusing on the monetization, at this point, I just want to focus on building traffic, just getting more people to the site. Monetization is always something that I can iron out and work on later. So I mean, it's cool. The site made a whopping almost $24 in February. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, it is just a sign that things are moving in the right direction. So going forward now, what is the plan? Because as you will recall, if you followed me in maybe my other videos or in live streams, I had pretty much confirmed that this site was just going on the shelf. And I couldn't do it, right? It felt too much. I'm going to put up my air quotes, like a fail or quitting. And I'd have a really hard time with thinking that I have done those things. And, you know, in the past, whenever I have said, oh, I'll just press pause on something or I'll come back to it, I just know that I know myself. I just don't. I never get back to it. So what I have decided to do was maybe a compromise of all of the things. I am going to put this site, I don't want to say on the back burner, but I'm going to take it out of my daily focus. I removed all of the keywords in the project from SERP Robot, so I'm no longer going to track the keywords, where they are at, or even their indexing status. Another thing I've done is located a writer who has some free time and the ability to take on a few articles a month, and this individual is going to help me get more content up there and will just help me feel like this site is still going, that I'm still taking advantage of this slow momentum that is starting to grow. And I'm going to be okay investing at least a couple $100s a month in this site, especially because I just really think that if I continue to work on it, it is going to eventually take off. And maybe as I see the site continuing to grow and progress, I will find it easier to come back and write some content for the site without feeling necessarily that mental load of like, just trying really hard to work on a project that isn't going anywhere. Initially, I had not planned to invest any money in content, at least in the first year. And so that is somewhat of a flip-flop from my initial plans, but you know what they say about best laid plans. So anyway, that is the update. The plan is basically to just chill out a bit, continue to create content, and stay the course. And I really think that if I do that at 12 months, I will have a positive result to come back and report. I'm still going to do monthly reports on this, but you know, this isn't one where you expect like fireworks blasting all the time. It's just an example of what you can do with a site when you're just working on it a little bit at a time. Thanks everybody. We'll see you in the next one.